for taking a few minutes to step away from all the action.
Thank you, Priya. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everyone in the Bay Area watching.
So could you tell us a little bit about why this is such a big deal? Just to take a step back for a moment, we have all been talking all week about the gridlock in Washington and the problems with electing a speaker with this slim Republican majority. But why does the speaker position matter so much?
Well, there is no Congress. I mean, I'm technically not employed. We're all members elect. There was a 1889 statute which says that before members of Congress can be sworn in, you have to elect a Speaker of the House. And until we have a Speaker of the House, we basically don't have a functioning Congress. Congress couldn't declare war. We can't appropriate any money. So we're right now without a functional government until we get a Speaker of the House.
And it also means that the people who are newly elected into office can't be sworn in. So maybe I should be calling you Representative-elect Khanna right now.
Absolutely. I mean, none of us can be sworn in. By January 13th, the staff stops getting paid. Members elect may stop getting paid. I don't know the details. But more important than that is that the country's work can't take place. I mean, Congress literally can't do anything. And it's unprecedented because Kevin McCarthy had 2 months after November to work this out. Any of the deals that he's doing now, I don't understand why he couldn't do those deals in November or December. The biggest concern I have is if it's so hard for him to get the votes for Speaker, imagine how hard it's going to be for him to govern. And we've got some scary votes coming up. Imagine if this country defaults on the debt ceiling and not raising it. That would cause a global recession. It would be catastrophic. So people should be concerned about our ability to govern.
What does this mean? The fact that such a slim majority of ultra-conservatives can kind of hold D.C. hostage like this?
Well, Priya, you put it exactly correctly. It's very scary. I mean, Kevin McCarthy today, in the vote I just did, is finally making some progress. He's gotten people to flip. But he's done that by basically giving away the entire barn. I mean, he is making promises to the far right about drastic cuts in spending, about potentially not raising the debt ceiling. These things will have catastrophic consequences for the working class, middle class in America, and for our own prestige as America. I mean, we've never defaulted on our credit before. And I'm really concerned about the promises that he's making to an extreme group to get votes.
This is not your first week in Washington. You've been a representative for some time. Tell us what it feels like to be there this week. Is there a strong sense of conflict, of aggression, of tension? Is there just frustration and patience through this process? What is it like?
You know, honestly, the first day there was a bit of novelty. Okay. It's never happened that someone hasn't gotten the vote of Speaker on the first ballot for 100 years. But as we started to go into vote number 4, vote number 5, vote number 6, there's just an exasperation and a real concern and anxiousness about what deals are being made with the very far right to get their votes. I mean, that is a concern not just shared by Democrats, by many moderate Republicans.
There is some historical precedence for this happening, but it's been a long time. I mean, literally 1923, 100 years ago, is the last time there was such a delay in installing a new speaker. We've had decades of more peaceful transitions, easier transitions. Why is this issue coming up now? America has really grown and evolved in the years since then.
Well, it's grown and evolved, and it matters a lot more, America. I mean, it mattered in 1923, but this was before World War II, before we became the world's undisputed superpower. Now, when America sneezes, it affects millions of lives. I mean, we are the dominant global economy, so it really has huge consequences. I think it's happening because of the dysfunction of the Republican Party. The fact that they had 2 months and they could not come to a consensus on Speaker just shows that they are very disunited. They've got extreme elements of their party who want to blow up the institutions. That's not me talking. That's what they say. They're in Washington to try to blow up institutions. And it's a concerning time for the country.
Anything else on this topic right now, Congressmember, that you would like to share?
Well, I'm proud of our party for electing Akeem Jeffrey as first African American to ever lead a party in the United States House of Representatives. The Democrats have shown remarkable unity. 12 out of 12 votes. He's gotten 212 votes, every single Democrat. And I think he's going to eventually be a great speaker and a great leader.
I want to turn now to the January 6th Commission. January 6th was 2 years ago today. Are you feeling reverberations of what happened then in Washington, being there again now? What is it like for you?
Well, Priya, it's a reminder of that dark day. I was locked up actually in this office for till midnight. But it also is a reminder of the triumph of democracy. I remember at 2 a.m. walking down to the Capitol Hall, voting to certify the election with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And it gave me a sense of optimism that our democracy is very resilient, that ultimately the democratic way of life in America will prevail. So it's important every January 6th to remind ourselves of how fragile democracy is, of the threats of it, and to reaffirm our commitment to the American democratic ideal.
There's also been referrals by the January 6th Commission over to the Justice Department, and they're recommending criminal charges be brought against President Trump and others. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think President Trump will be charged?
Well, I think that's a decision for Attorney General Merrick Garland to make. I obviously have expressed strong condemnation of what he did, but it's not for politicians to opine on legal matters. Merrick Garland has impeccable integrity. It should be beyond politics, and I want him to go where the facts take him.
What do you think about the waning power of President Trump? His recently announced election bid has been underwhelming, to say the least. His support for candidates in the most recent election did not do very much. In some cases, it certainly seems to have hurt them. What do you think about this shift?
I think people are catching on that the January 6th and election denialism really are not consistent with our principles, and that has caught up to him. But, you had Kevin McCarthy still groveling to Donald Trump for Trump's endorsement. So I don't think that the Republican Party has been rid of Trumpism, and it would be a mistake to underestimate Trumpism, which is why I strongly support our president, President Biden, and want to do whatever I can to strengthen his hand.
And last, I want to ask you about speculation that is out there about your future. Politico published an article last month titled "The Shadow Race is On to Succeed Feinstein," and they named you as someone who is actively exploring a bid. Are you?
I'm very happy representing Silicon Valley. I think it's one of the biggest platforms in the nation, if not the world. Candidly, some people have approached me about it, but my inclination right now is really to continue to represent Silicon Valley.
Do you agree with some who say that it is time for Senator Feinstein to cede her position?
Well, I'd be shocked if she runs for re-election, and I don't think that would be appropriate. But, I think it's her decision to serve out her term, and I don't think she should be pressured in not serving out her term.
Congressmember Khanna, thank you for taking the time. Hope you have a quieter weekend and that this all wraps up soon.
I hope to be back home. Let's see if we get this done.
Thank you.
Thank you.